Yes, sir. Falling in once again. You listening to World Combat Sports. What's good? What's happening? Everything above. You know what I'm saying? For those of you that's in the live chat, you come in the building, hit the like button for me. Share the content. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Support WCS. You know what it is. Covering boxing, MMA, grappling. It don't matter. Pretty much combat sports in general. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's about. So I just need more of you all to fall in and giving that support, one team, one fight. And that's what it's about, shout. You know, stop tripping. I don't know if you heard or read, but it's a transparent shift that's going on, you know, in boxing a bit. I know it's a lot of people out here that watch the sport on the regular. You know, it's easy for us to come out here and just recycle information over and over again off the headlines. I'm gonna tell you some shit that not too many people are gonna talk about. You haven't heard the shit being talked about yet. Because really, they may not want to take that chance and piss some people off. But you know, I do my own thing. So I'm not really too much worried about, who's gonna agree or disagree. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's gonna have their opinion. That's the way it is all day, every day in life. Believe it. I think it's a good point in time in boxing that black fighters need to step up and take more risk in their careers. And the reason why I'm telling you this is that I see it from the amateurs, man. I see it in the amateurs on up that there's a lot of Hispanic, whatever you want to call it, Mexican, Latino fighters. Not only fighters that's coming in through the amateur ranks, but they are aligning themselves in the amateurs with coaches and referees, judges, and all that. And they building up the amateurs. It's more Mexican fighters that I see in the amateurs than I see black fighters. It's not too many, I don't see too many black referees or judges, even in the amateurs. But I can tell you who I do see. I see a lot of Hispanic, Latino fighters in the amateurs coming up. So if you're in a sport that's been around this long, right, and you've seen the shifts, because there was a point in time where we had those black names out there, those fighters that we can look at and say, you know what, man, that's a bad motherfucker right there. They was all around. But right now, I don't know. You know, I know it has a little bit to do with politics, and some individuals are, knotted up contractually. But what I want to make a point on is that there's no more playing this shit safe. There's no more playing it fucking safe for owning your record. Because look, I hear media all the time, including myself. We'll sit up here and tell you that the greats have all lost. The greats have all lost, and not all the greats have lost at the back end of their career. That's not true. That simply isn't true, man. In order for black fighters to make a name, to become that individual like Floyd Mayweather was able to do, you got to take some risks this day and time. We just can't keep mentioning Floyd Mayweather's name, even though he would appreciate the shit. Floyd Mayweather would appreciate it. But when it comes down to it, we have to stop using his name. We have to start emulating what Floyd Mayweather was able to do. And that's become a superstar. We have to emulate that. It's certain names in boxing that are emulating that, but they ain't black. They're not black fighters. You know what I'm saying? We have to make it a point to understand that, I'm not afraid to say what Canelo Alvarez is doing right now. But I'm going to leave him up there as he be. I'm going to leave him alone for a second. But then I have to look at what Teofimo Lopez is being able to do right now. You know what I'm saying? Um, a one fighter that's out the sport right now have to look at what Deontay Wilder was able to do, because be it as it may, he was giving people fighters rematches, some of the top names in the sport, and he was taking risks to do it. You know what I'm saying? He was taking risks to do that shit. He was giving fighters rematches. He gave one of the toughest fights in his career, Tyson Fury, a rematch immediately, but Tyson Fury didn't want it. Then we look at Teofimo Lopez. He's up here taking risks by running the gauntlet over at the IBF. And he sits over here. He goes and have a tough time with Nakatani. He has a tough time with Richard Comey. And then he fights the top 2 pound for pound. But no, check this out though. Check this out. This is where heart, cojones, and everything else comes into play. It takes more than saying so-and-so's a bitch and they're a bitch ass nigga and all this other shit. You have to look back at when his pops said that we're going to get Lomachenko with 16 fights. You have to go back to when his pops said, when his pops made it perfectly clear that when they was going to be world champion. They wasn't world champion yet. He just put it out there. You just can't say it's full of shit and he didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. The shit came to fruition. He was champion with 15 fights. Went in there and defeated the top 2 pound for pound. That's taking risk. That's taking risk. We need more black fighters out here taking risk like that. We need more black fighters out here taking risks like Canelo Alvarez. I can give a damn who it pisses off, but it's just fact. Black fighters, we have to go out here and take more risk in the game instead of damn chasing behind the ones who are. It's no time for that shit no more. Fuck what Canelo got going on like that, as if you can't do it yourself. You can't criticize what Canelo's doing and you ain't willing to do it. You cannot sit up here and go through that within your thought process and feel good about yourself. You have to take the opportunity to say, let me take risk. Let me take motherfucking risk. Let me do it. How can we, as black fighters, right, criticize the moves Canelo is making and he continued to succeed? We're talking about from Rocky Fielding, strap. Sergey Kovalev, strap. Vacate the motherfucker at 60. Callum Smith, strap. Adley Gilliam or Mandy or whatever he considered himself, a body in the ring. Now he's going for Billy Joe Saunders, strap. Then he's going for Caleb Plant, strap. So let's count that. Rocky Fielding 1, Sergey Kovalev 2. That's 2 right there in 2 different divisions. 2 different divisions. Rocky Fielding, Sergey Kovalev. Then he drops back down. He goes to Callum Smith 3. Now you're trying to tell me that he may potentially unify the super middleweight division before we even get a welterweight fight, a unification? It's absolutely blasphemy, man. This is crazy. We have some top names. We have some names that's coming up. They're only a small few, though. You know what I'm saying? We have a small few of names that's on the hunt that I believe that's about their life. Shakur Stevenson is one of them that's on the come up. Who else? I'm talking strictly black fighters. Bud Crawford. I think he may be trying to move up to 154 for a big fight. I believe he can do it. Seriously. I cannot include Bud Crawford in this conversation because he's a 3-division champion. So he has taken risks. He has came in and moved up since he wasn't able to flourish as an Olympian. So he did what he had to do. So if he's, like I said previously about Bud Crawford, I say it's potentially he may move up to 154 because he can. So if nothing is going on with this bullshit ass WBA title, Manny Pacquiao and all this Mikey Garcia shit and Yordenis Ugas, what Bud Crawford needs to do, what Canelo Alvarez is doing. They need to do potentially what Gervonta Davis is doing. Yeah, I said it. I said it. Andrew Charles in the building. What's good? King Mitch, what's good? Salute to all. Only risk Canelo taking is fighting so frequently. I'll speak on that. Andre, what's good? Andre said, finally, a rare black man. It's plenty of us out here that speak, and slice it down the middle. But check this out, though. What really needs to happen with those names I just mentioned, even Gervonta Davis. Look at what Gervonta Davis is doing. All right, potentially, he's moving up to potentially fight a tough opponent in Mario Barrios. A lot of people are criticizing that because he's not fighting super champions, so to speak. But you have to understand, Tank Davis is maneuvering himself through the system to cement his freaking foundation first. His foundation is these divisions. He's laying down these divisions, so when he get to the close to his 30s and the backside of his 20s, he can pick and choose what fights on PPV that he wants to fight. He will be that PPV guy. Him and Teofimo Lopez is somewhat traveling the same way. They're moving somewhat the same, similarly. But Teofimo is choosing to do it the hardest way first, outside of Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis wasn't willing to stay at a single division and clean it up first and then decide to move on, right? But what Gervonta Davis is doing is taking risk. Leo Santa Cruz, you may not call it a risk, but before that, he was having problems balancing the scales. Boom. He got his weight right, made weight, went in there, brutal knockout. You know what it is. Now, if he's stepping up and fight Mario Barrios, guess what? That's what it is. He's taking a risk. It needs to be more black fighters to take this mentality and say, you know what? I don't have to wait till the perfect time to move up and wait. Let's do what Sugar Ray did with Donnie Lennon. You can't sit here and criticize what Sugar Ray did. Who is Donnie Lennon? Donnie Lennon was a big motherfucker that was fighting at light heavyweight. Sugar Ray moving up from middle. I mean, come on, bro. You got to give these cats credit. The knock on Gary Russell Jr. is not the fact that he cannot box. It's the fact that he stayed at featherweight his entire career. His entire career competition. He's the longest reigning champion, but I say since 2015, I believe, he's been fighting once a year. Imagine how great Mr. Gary Russell Jr. would have been if he decided to move up to 130. He decided to move up to 35. Nothing, bro. Nothing at all. We can't just sit here and look at all the Latino fighters take all the risk and show out and be the talk of the town and then say, oh, look at all the black fighters chasing Canelo. I don't like that shit. I never would tell somebody to say, okay, be a follower. Be a follower. Do what Canelo's doing. That's all you need to focus on. Just do what Canelo's doing. No, you need to become that person that they talk about in general. You need to start making the moves Canelo is making. Do it how you want to do it. But don't sit up here and chase Canelo. You know what I'm saying? Don't sit up here and chase Canelo from the lighter to the middle divisions. We have to do something about it. Like, I know it's a lot of brothers at 140. They need to make a name for themselves, but look, where are they? Where are they? We have very limited at 135. Outside of Teofimo Lopez, we have Devin Haney with a title. Who else is there? Richard Comey's coming off. Well, I'm talking about I'm not excluding Richard Coleman, but I'm talking about Black American fighters. Who else is in the hunt? Who else is there? We got Ryan Garcia over there. We got Javier Fortuna, who's Cuban. Where are all these fighters we see in the amateurs that's black? Where are all the black boxers that's coming up in the amateur? Where are they at in boxing, though? You can't pick the perfect time to come over to boxing. You have to turn professional and do what you have to do. It's a way to do it. Like you have some fighters that turn professional and they're not signed with anybody, but they're getting it in. They're going to Mexico. They're building up their foundation. You know what I'm saying? They're doing what they got to do. Like I've mentioned that previously. You know, like Michael Williams Jr. They're independent and they're building up their foundation. Every fighter doesn't feel that they can get the fight that they want to continue to fight on the big stage with a fighter that would be decent competition, but not over the top, elite. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not trying to go up here and just go on a losing streak. So two things need to happen. You need to have to challenge yourself and make a self commitment. You need to commit to yourself and say, okay, I need to turn it up. I need to do better. I need to work harder. And then two, you have to be willing to say, okay, my acceptance is I'm going to fight some tougher opposition. I need to find a way to make myself the name everyone's talking about initially when boxing is being mentioned. And when that comes up, the one fighter that comes out, and that's the topic of discussion, is Canelo Alvarez. And just understand this. Just remember when Canelo Alvarez was that guy who lost to Floyd Mayweather. Remember, Canelo Alvarez was that motherfucker that lost to Floyd Mayweather. And everybody's like, damn, you look bad. Oh, shit, he made you look crazy. Who's making who look crazy now? Canelo is actually going in the ring and making cats look simple. S-I-M-P-L-E, simple. He's making dudes look simple, dog. And y'all don't, look, y'all don't have a problem with that shit. If you're going to get on here and talk this media shit, you have to call it for what it is. You have to say that from what we're seeing, Floyd Mayweather is not the grand dragon, the lone wolf that's able to accomplish what he was able to accomplish. It's awesome and great that he's in a position of being one of the most well-paid athletes and one of the best boxers ever to grace the square. But his time has expired as far as being an active duty boxer. So we need to encourage and find the next one. I know we talk about this passing of the torch, right? But listen, but check this out. Listen now. Mikey Garcia, 4-division champion. How many division champions Oscar De La Hoya? Oscar Valdez just went in there and knocked out Miguel Berchelt, 2-division champion. But the way he did it, Naoya Inoue, he's down in the bantamweight division. He's a 3-division champion. Leo Santa Cruz is a 4-division champion. You have a lot of Hispanic fighters that multi-division champions, man, because they come in light and they work themselves up. And once again, like I said, Bud Crawford, he did it, 3-division champion. But look at all these multi-division champions that's Hispanic. Look what Teofimo Lopez has been able to do in just one division. You cannot sit up here and trash what he did when the man has all the belts. His pops said, this is what the route we're going to take. This is what we're going to do, and watch us do it. Watch me do me. Boom. It happened. There's no way, no how you can sit here in the mirror, right? Or come online and have a conversation and be honest with yourself and don't say, you know what? I respect what the fuck he did. I respect what him and his team did. Now, World Combat Sports is saying, hey, we need some more black fighters to take risks like that. I have to commend Joshua Gray Jr. for taking risks. He fought against Stephen Fulton early in his career and took his first loss. But that's Stephen Fulton we're talking about. Josh Gray has been taking freaking tough fights and just faced his second loss. You know what I'm saying? Against well, he didn't. He came to a draw. He came to a draw. But his second loss against Mike Plania, tough Filipino fighter. See, I don't have to use this for Filipino because Filipinos, that's all they live, dog. They drive, they live and eat, sleep, boxing over that motherfucker, dog. Japan, they live for combat sports. But every so often you'll find a Japanese boxer that stands out. So I'm not talking about them right now. I'm talking about the majority. I'm talking about the Hispanics, and I'm talking about the black fighters. What's going on, Tone? How you feel? It's a 50-50 fight. Who do you got between Teofimo Davis? It's a 50-50 fight in my opinion. I've seen both of them in true form. And it's a 50-50 fight. Gervonta, you know, people can say what they want about him, say he's overweight, he's undisciplined. Dude is a monster. I've seen Gervonta take some damage, especially from Brian Norman Jr., who's fighting tomorrow. I've seen him take that heat. There's no bitch. There's absolutely no bitch in Gervonta Davis. There's no bitch in Gervonta Davis. Teofimo Lopez, I don't see any bitch in Teofimo Lopez. That fight will be split down the middle if it happens, and it'll be one of the biggest fights in boxing if it happens at the right time. It'll be one of the biggest fights in boxing. Both of those guys have power, and it's going to come down to attrition, durability, who can set up their shots the best, who can get off and land the most damaging blows, so to speak, or on the more effective power shots. Who can inflict the most damage for the mid part of the fight? Because this is not going to be no motherfucking, oh, you faint, I faint, you faint, I faint. No, no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to be the first half of Vasyl Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez. It's not. I see Mel Charlo out here taking risks. AB is taking quite a few risks. While they're taking risky rematches. Now, AB, look, AB, for what he was able to do, he just came back to the sport after 2 years. All right. It's tough for me to put AB in the equation, even though he's a 4-division champion. I'm not saying he's retired or inactive. I'm really talking about active fighters, right? But AB name can go in there for what he's been able to accomplish, you know, going all the way up to 47, skipping 140, going to 47, picking up a strap, and then moving down, picking up another one at 140. I commend him, but it's not enough ABs out here. It's not enough ABs. It's not enough Deontay Wilders out here. Mel Charlo. How many divisions do Mel Charlo have? Mitch? How many divisions does Mel Charlo have at the moment? So therefore, if I'm looking, if I have his age correctly, and I'm not trying to get this wrong, what's Jermell Charlo's age right now? He's 30. So what I'm saying is, let's just say, give or take, you got 5 solid years left in your career if you Mel Charlo. And I'm just going off what you said, Mitch. Mel Charlo is taking risks. So he's taking risks in fighting a Jason Rosario. Got it. That's not the risk I'm talking about. I mean, that's basically attempting to clear out your division and become undisputed, and which is going to be very, very good for Jermell Charlo. But once again, I'm talking about taking risks as far as what Canelo has been able to do division to division. Now, I'm not even diluting what Charlo is doing with becoming undisputed. I commend him in its entirety for unifying the division the way he's doing. He would have been able to accomplish something his brother won't even ever come close to doing in his career. I'm just putting it out there. Mar Charlo never unified the division. Mayor Charlo is being the one to unify the 154-pound division, and I commend him for that. But what's going to be next after that? 60? Is he going to go to 68? Because, listen, I was a little bit irritated a little bit when, when David Benavidez is calling out Mar Charlo, and Mar said, he started making up all this shit to have a vaccine. He ain't fighting nobody this way. And then I heard the same shit with Andrade. Just because Andrade bowed out of a fight and wanted more money, they're going to black card him, as they put it. What the fuck are we talking about? If Andrade is one of the bigger names out here, why don't you fight him? It's a fight. It's money. What is all this prima donna shit, this entitlement? Like you ain't going to fight a dude because he wanted more money years ago and the fight fell out and he attempted to sign with another promotion and that went all bad. Don't you think the dude learned his lesson? So now it's time for us to see people that's credible and reputable in the division fight one another. So why not Jermall Charlo? Why not? I mean, what the fuck are we talking about? That's what I'm saying with the black fighters, man. We have to stop all this shit. I'm irritated with Spence. I ain't gonna lie, bro. And there's so many people that's boosting Spence up, man. It ain't personal, dog. But dude, stop putting that G word on this dude. Stop giving him the G tag. He ain't earned the G tag, dog. Stop giving him that G tag. Dude ain't great. He ain't great, man. It took him about 18 fights to figure out he wanted to be a welterweight. And then the rest is what it is. But yet, all I hear people comparing his resume, his welterweight resume, to Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford has been one of those guys who came to the division and stopped every one of his opponents. It doesn't make a difference in comparing him to Errol Spence. All we want to see is the fight. We want to see two brothers that's both on the pound for pound list fight. But they think, oh man, I just want to make it a social media highlight reel. I just want to sit up here and be all about the drama on social media. Don't put that G tag on these cats, man, unless they truly giving you that shit. No more G tagging, man. You can say what you want. By the time Canelo Alvarez leaves the sport, his G tag is already solidified. That shit is bow tied. That shit is identified. That shit is solidified. That shit is going to be magnified. He's rolling around here doing what the fuck he's supposed to do. I don't want to hear shit about no clenbuterol no more. I've been the one that mentioned that shit myself. Yeah, he got caught, but goddamn it, listen, I'm going to break this down as simple as I possibly can, people, because I know how some intelligent human beings is listening. When you're in a sport competing, and this sport has a turnstile, an entryway, for you to compete once you get out of prison, jail, confinement, you're talking about a person who basically has a blemish past or whatever the case may be. This sport of boxing allows you to make a living. This sport of boxing allows you to come in with no prerequisites to train as a fighter, to make a living, to become someone special or great. So why put so much emphasis on individuals that's competing in a sport that's bitten without the sanctification? Somebody pops. Okay. The problem we're worried about is primarily the ones who alter the gloves or put some type of object in the gloves, do something else. Because it's only certain ways you can cheat, right? You can put it in your body, but that's not proven. I'm gonna tell you that's not proven to give you the results that you want. Because skill for skill, you can take somebody that's on performance enhancing drugs and they can still get their ass beat. It's proven. But when you put foreign objects or any type of foreign substance in your gloves, anyone, because your hands is the only thing, the only weapons that you can use in boxing, your left and your right. And it's supposed to be a proper way on how to wrap those hands up and glove, lace them, and then they're inspected, whatever. That is when it gets a little crazy. If you become Panama Lewis, who has been known before the Luis Resto fight, he was known for taking padding out of the glove. He was known. It's just it took a handshake from Billy Collins' father to realize that Luis Resto barely had any padding in his gloves. That's why I got a problem with when you are pretty much forcing someone's demise in life, where they're going to lose their life and be away from their family because you cheated. You know what I'm saying? It's just a different type when it comes to this combat sport. The Antonio Margaritos. I don't care what nobody say about he didn't, man, he cheated, period. Spence taking Danny Garcia fight after layoff and accident was somewhat risky. I disagree. I think you're not. I think you overlooking the risk that I'm talking about. Like him fighting Sean Porter was risk. Okay. Him fighting Sean Porter was risk. That's the only thing I can give Errol Spence to that nature. But the risk I'm talking about is challenging yourself to either fight the best or move up the division and do something different. Just like Conor McGregor. As much as I'm the one that criticized cross-threading media to mixed martial arts, it's a lot more black fighters in mixed martial arts that are freaking given adulations all the time, and they dare to be great, right? So when I look at what Conor McGregor was attempting to do, what he actually did was went from 45 up to 70 and back down to 55. That's daring to be great. He had 2 fights at 170 and moved back down to 155 and fought another champion. Why can this not happen amongst black fighters in general? The mindset, you have to go at it. You have to go after it. You have to commit to say either I'm good or I'm great. You have to commit to it, period. Dillian White, sorry ass, is taking risks. Man, Dillian White, he's not in my conversation right now, man. I'm talking about black American fighters right now. That's all I'm talking about, because Dillian White, come on, Mitch. You look, I respect you way higher than that. Dillian White, when it comes to common sense, it ain't so common, goddamn it. It ain't so common. I would just like these guys to fight more frequent. This one time a year shit is whack as fuck. Now we're talking. I agree. AB should have never been in the ring with Maidana. Yeah, he should have. Because that was one of AB's best fights in his career. Marcos Maidana, the Argentinian OG. Absolutely. Chino gave him what he gave him. And if AB would have been in shape and he would have took training camp the way it's supposed to, then guess what? Marcos Maidana wouldn't have had much success. But I do commend AB for being tough enough to stand up and fight his way up out a tough situation early on in that fight to end, to answer the final bell on his feet. But the risk I'm talking about is basically adding to your credentials as a fighter, adding to your foundation, building up something people can compare you to others for. What are we comparing some of these black fighters to? Seriously, what are we comparing them to? They always have to be compared to a black fighter that's out of the sport and damn near, a grandpa times five. You know, Tommy Hearns. You know, Marvelous Marvin and Hagler. You know Ali, right? George Foreman. You know Roy Jones, right? B Hop. Sugar Ray. You what? James Thomas? Yeah. They're not comparing. Canelo is being compared right now, and he's still an active fighter. The reason that you hear some people that may not want to compare Canelo because they might have disdain for what he's been able to accomplish in the sport. But being a dude that's traveled all over the world into to the lightest and darkest areas, right? I just look at taking risk. I've seen risk taken by individuals in foreign countries. I've seen them do some shit that right off the rip, I ask myself, I say, would I have did it that way? And then I can honestly say, no, I wouldn't. But seeing somebody younger than me go through something as tough as some of these teenagers are put through, or these kids when training combat sports, it's no Me Too movement. It's no women's empowerment group when it comes to protesting in front of a martial arts school because an instructor slapped the fuck out your kid. It's none of that. But God damn it, you go overseas, they stick to tradition. You take it serious. You're not walking through that door into the school on your phones. You ain't doing none of that shit. Your shit is on silent. It's none of that. It's a whole different environment. I'm just saying, as black fighters, man, don't you want to be compared now? Don't you want them to compare the ones who are just getting on the scene or young in the sport to say, listen, y'all might want to do it like that, man. I like the way he moving. They doing it the right way, man. I'm telling you. I just want to look around and see more black fighters being multi-division champions and taking risks. That's all. Where are they at? We're busy up here on social media, damn trying to damn put how many cars we got and shit, and flaunting, going out to eat this. We don't seen that shit, man. Black people, we're part of the culture, bro. We know all that shit with fashion and cars and all that. Yeah, your income different than mine. I get it. But when it comes to this boxing shit, no one's gonna look back at your IG account and say, you know what, that's when this picture right here, this picture was when he was world champion. I forgot what belt he had though. You see what belt he had. But yeah, I remember him, right there. Yeah, he was champion. Man, we at a point in time right now that two divisions isn't good enough. Two division champion isn't good enough in boxing. Two division champions isn't considered good enough in boxing. And not only you being a two division champion, but it's who you fought. So check this out, right? Once again, like I use my boy Gervonta Davis, right? You can't be mad at you can't look. You can't praise Canelo Alvarez for going out there defeating Rocky Fielding and Sergey Kovalev, but criticize Tank for fighting Leo Santa Cruz and then potentially Mario Barrios. You can't do it. It don't matter what belt they hold. I'm just saying, like, They have a belt. Who did he fight for the WBA world title? I'm talking about he as in Canelo Alvarez. What belt did Rocky Fielding has? So if you're going to praise what Canelo has done fighting Rocky Fielding for the WBA regular title, then you cannot come out your mouth and criticize Gervonta Davis for what he's doing down here. Because last time I checked, Leo Santa Cruz, he didn't have no regular title. But Mario Barrios does. But then again, Gervonta fought for the regular title 135, the vacant, right? But hey, you cannot criticize him for that. What you can praise him for is, if indeed this is true, Mario Barrios will give him a good fight. Plus, he's taking the risk. I will go on record and say I didn't think, if this is all the way true, I wasn't the one to believe that Gervonta Davis was going to move up to 140 this early. I didn't believe it. I just thought he was a little bit too small, But when you're talking about an individual, a freaking mind like Floyd Mayweather, he's constantly looking at the landscape. And he's saying, I'm gonna build up my cash cow. I'm gonna build up my cash cow the best way I want to. Because at the end of the day, it's all about Floyd making money. So Floyd said, you know what? Hey, Tank, hey, come over to the office. I'm gonna talk about our next fight, man. And look, this is something that was talked about when I was in San Antonio. Having a conversation, which I'm not gonna mention having a conversation about Tank fighting Mario Barrios if he wins. This was in San Antonio. He was on Tank Leo Santa Cruz undercard, along with Regis Prograis. Now, taking risk and what I'm talking about, yeah, he's moving up the division and potentially fight Mario Barrios, but taking a risk, and what I'm saying is fighting a fighter like Regis Prograis. What if Gervonta Davis was to move up to 140 and fight Mario Barrios, and then he goes in there and fight Regis Prograis at 140? What if Teofimo Lopez sits up here again and say, you know what, I'm finished Kambosos. I'm going to go up here and fight the winner, Josh Taylor, and they give him the fight. The winner of Taylor Ramirez, they give him the fight right off the rip. That's taking risk, man. You going in there for an undisputed title. Tank going in there for a third division. We need more individuals. Shakur Stevenson moving up to 130. It's only a matter of time before he have a couple of straps. He's taking risk. We need more black fighters to take this risk. But we need them to take risks and keep it moving like Canelo Alvarez is doing. If it was Floyd Mayweather, I would say you need to take risks like Floyd Mayweather has done. But the name I can use right now that's killing the game his own way is Canelo Alvarez, period. When you get up in the 175-pound division and 168-pound, there's no brothers up there really killing the game. I mean, where are we? You trying to tell me we don't weigh that shit? Andre Ward was the only one? I mean, come on, man. I mean, where are the brothers at, dog? You trying to tell me we stopped growing and eating, at 160? We only good for 160. You know how light that is? 160, 154, 147, and 140? You trying to tell me that's the only weight classes we truly compete in? I can even take it up to heavyweight. For a long time, it was just Deontay Wilder who was reigning up there. But I'm talking about, like, now we have Trevor Bryan and we have Michael Hunt. But still, that's not a huge class of black fighters that's in that weight class. And I'm not even going to mention cruiserweight. That's like a motherfucking abyss in itself. You couldn't find a brother up there. I mean, I'll take that back. He just haven't fought I think he's fighting the light heavyweight though. I was gonna say Dion Nichols. He's fighting the light heavyweight, so he ain't fighting the cruiserweight. I don't think. But man, where the brothers at in cruiserweight? I know we have Dylan. We have the D boy Dylan Price. Man, he's down at flyweight, I believe. But that's a rare division for us to see black fighters contending at. And then at bantamweight, it's not too many too many brothers that's at bantamweight that's fighting down there. We have Joshua Greer, and it's I couldn't tell you who else is down there at bantamweight, to be honest. Rigondeaux is Cuban. He's holding the WBA regular title. 122. You know, we have a couple of brothers fighting there, Aline and Fulton. I don't know, man. You tell me. Shit. I don't really consider moving up divisions as necessarily risky just cause how fighters grow out divisions. Canelo and Crawford have moved up, but I haven't seen them in challenging or risky fights. I totally consider moving up divisions a risk because therefore, if you're moving up or down a division, it all depends on how your body reacts to and acclimates to the weight. I wholeheartedly agree with it being a risk. Absolutely. Because if you're going to go up there to a division that you're not even acclimated to and contend with guys who supposedly are bigger than you, I'm talking about who are used to or adjusted and they understand, you know, how the division feels up there. That's taking a risk, especially if you're coming from a lower division. You coming from a lower division, and then if you drop it from a higher to a lower division, right? You got to drop the weight. You got to discipline yourself. You know, you got to be able to go down there and drop the weight and still perform at the best of your ability. So the way I look at it is like it's a challenge both ways of the wishbone. It's a challenge both ways, man. We need more activity. We need more activity with black fighters willing to take the step ups. Don't hate the player. I'm serious. You can't hate the player, hate the game. As much shit that you know you can say about Canelo and what he fought Abner Yildirim, I say it was trash too. The Abner Yildirim, it was, man. Come on, just because you say Abner Yildirim is trash doesn't mean you're trashing Canelo. The motherfucker was that fight was trash, absolutely garbage. But what he's been able to do in the sport, period. Why don't we see other people moving around like that? This cat, Canelo's up here buying Oscar Valdez a motherfucking jet black stallion. Canelo's up here riding horses like he is the Lone Ranger. You can buy a car, but I can ride a horse. Look at my saddle. My saddle costs more, damn near, than your vehicle. I'm telling you, Canelo up here doing goddamn shit that some people would be scared. This mugger's riding a horse like a G. I mean, it's just different, dog. And all I'm saying is let's start planning out what we want out of our career and take some bigger risks with these divisions and some names. It can't just be black fighters can't get big fights with black fighters. That's the dumbest shit that I've been hearing, man. I'm not gonna tell you who I've been hearing it from, but if that's the case where certain individuals don't want black fighters fighting black fighters, that is stupid as hell. But yet we see Hispanic and Latino fighters fight each other all the time. Either way, they making money and they continue to build on their career. J8 in the building, salute to you. I honestly don't see anything risky for Bud or Spence at welterweight. Well, the risk I'm talking about for Bud Crawford is moving up right now and facing somebody at 54 for a title shot potentially. And the reason why I say it's a risky move for Bud Crawford is he's already a 3-division champion. I've mentioned this before. He moves up and potentially picks up another strap or fight the likes of Jermell Charlo. That's taking a risk because obviously, Jermell Charlo is going to be the bigger, stronger fighter. He's been in there with the likes of a pure boxer like Tony Harrison. You know what I'm saying? He's been in there with some solid competition. He's been in there with the Erickson Lubin. For Bud Crawford to move up, and he did look big when they went to the Canelo Alvarez and Anthony Yildirim. It's a video out there with Demetrius Andrade, Danny Garcia, Bud Crawford. And Bud Crawford looked damn near bigger than Demetrius Andrade. I wonder what he's getting in training for. Is he planning on moving up to 54 sometime soon this year? Seriously, is he planning on moving up sometime soon? Because dude don't look nowhere close to 47. Nowhere close. Nowhere close to 47. So I'm not saying that fight is going to come soon, because I'm pretty sure Charlo is going to be fighting Castano. But if by chance Bud can take a fight at 54 for any title, I'm going to keep it real, for any title, whether it's a WBA world title, whatever the case may be, do it. If you can add another division, become a 4-division champion, why not? It's time to do that. That's why I tell people, to stop putting a G tag on these mugs. Stop doing it. Because one division right now ain't saying too much of anything. Yeah, Danny Garcia may have losses, but Danny Garcia is a 2-division champion. You know what I'm saying? I give him that much. He's a 2-division champion. I've criticized him too in the past too, but he's a 2-division champion. But then now you put Father Time on their side, and you saying to yourself, like, when you plan on making a move? Like, you fought above welterweight there, Spence. Most of your career fluctuated back and forth. And then you're still worried about unifying division. Man, it's just no discipline. I'm serious. It's just a lack of discipline, man, for real. How can you glorify someone who you can look at their report card? Look at their report card, y'all, their boxing report card. It will give you everything you need to know about not putting a G tag on these fighters. Even Jermell Charlo, he has to think about something. Jermell Charlo is going to have to think about moving up to 60. Mar Charlo should have just resigned that belt, vacated, and fully committed himself to going up and making noise at 168. Say, fuck it. I'm going for my 3rd division. If I'm going to be anything great in this sport, I need to go where they saying the fighter, that this particular fighter is one of the best out here. That's what I need to do. And at that point in time, it's David Benavidez, because they have a little history and shit like that. Why not go up there? You say you big Charlo, right? So if you big Charlo, you received all the good prenatal care and shit before you was born. You need to not make those excuses talking about he need to take a COVID test and he ain't fight nobody under this, that. No, man. Go up there and fight David Benavidez. Go fight someone with a name. Go fight a champion, anybody, to get yourself established into the 168-pound division. Because there's nothing popping at 60. If you in the talks with Triple G, I'll take that back. If you heard that Mar Charlo was in the talks with Triple G, it's bullshit. He's not in the talks with Triple G. Triple G is not going to fight Mar Charlo. He's not. That's the biggest farce in the 60-pound division. Triple G. Look, his only moonlight division that he's enjoyed campaigning at, because he's so frightened to move out of the division. But yeah, he want to hold his hand. I'm compared with Bernard Hopkins. I'm the best ever middle. No one is going to remember Gennady Golovkin when it's all said and done? No one. No one's going to remember that shit. And that's what I'm trying to say for Jermell Charlo and Mauro Charlo. Man, make them remember you. People are going to remember Tank before it's all said and done. The good and the bad, the ugly, they're going to remember Gervonta Davis. They're going to remember Teofimo Lopez's. They're going to remember the Deontay Wilders. They're going to remember the Bud Crawfords if he move up and do something spectacular at 54. Because he's still a 3-division champion at the end of the day. But who else? Who, I got to take my time. Who else? Who am I looking at? Who else? Brothers. Let me see what I'm looking at. Oh, man. I'm telling you, brothers. Man, it's about to be a depression up in here. I'm telling you. Because most of the brothers that are making moves and making names for themselves in lighter divisions, it's gonna take them time to get up to 47 and 54. It's gonna take them a while. We're about to go in a drought. I'm telling you, we're about to go in a drought. You know how many non-black fighters we have in the shoot waiting at 54? You know how many non-black fighters we have in the shoot waiting at 47, 40? It's a lot of them. It's just something for you to think about. That's all. Troy Graham, what's good? What's good? Salute to you. Big Dog in the building. Salute WCS. I agree. What's good? Mitch say Andre have 5 comments, 2 of which mention racial. Sounds like that's your type of shit. Let's see. I'm not seeing what I have to see down here because I don't know. The only thing I can say about I don't see where he mentioned some racial stuff at there, King. I mean, unless I'm missing something. Well, he said that's the Al Heyman factor. I didn't say that shit. I'm not saying he's wrong, but it's a validity in that. It's a validity in that. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. It's a validity in there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was just talking. Troy said Clarissa Shields is another example of a legacy builder in this era. She is, man. I was just talking about the male boxers per se, being that there's more male black champions contending in the sport right now than there are, household names in the female genre of the sports. I'm not saying I'm overlooking the franchise Cruz Zerns. I'm not overlooking the Carissa Shields. I'm not overlooking any of the big names. It's like that. But I'm talking about the male side of boxing right now. And you're right. She is. She is, in my opinion, a GOAT because of what she's been able to accomplish. It doesn't matter, and I've been on record saying, they always gonna criticize her for a competition, but she's the one who did it. 2 division, 4 belt, 2 division undisputed. It's a big deal. Rigo is black and one of the most talented fighters of this era. We're not going to start going into ethical semantics. He's Cuban. I'm talking about black Americans. I'm talking about black Americans, not the shade of skin. Then we'll be talking about Gamboa, Rigondeaux. You know what I'm saying? Even bringing Chocolatito in here. Roman Gonzalez. We're talking about black Americans. That's what I'm talking about. the ones that's pretty much on the scene right here in the ranking system. We need to do more for real. Tristan Sweet Tea, Cock Ruth, a promising prospect at cruiserweight. I think he's fighting on the 20th. Once again, Andrew Charles, he may be absolutely that promising prospect at cruiserweight. But we just had Oleksandr Usyk, the former undisputed cruiserweight champion. So is there going to be anyone next in line as far as a black fighter to take over and do something that's rarely done, over there at cruiserweight? Is it possible? Since Al has been in the game and his boxers want big dollars with low risk fights, I can agree with that somewhat. I can agree with that. I can agree with it because I talk to people behind the scene that's done pretty much kind of caveat to those same sentiments. You know what I'm saying? So I can't say it's a lie. I can't say it's a lie. And that may be the situation that's holding up Errol Spence and Bud Crawford. I mean, they're both in their 30s now. So when are we going to see the fight? We're tired of the same bullshit. This is one of the bigger fights right now. Top 5 pound for pound. Both fighters in the same division, which we rarely get this. We rarely have 2 top 5 pound for pound fighters in the same division and can't even make a fight. A true risk is taking on the challenge of a fighter who is viewed as your equal or who is believed to have surpassed you in skills. I agree. Someone who's your equal or greater. I agree with that. And that's what I'm saying. It's not enough risk being taken out here to be considered. Now, speaking of Canelo Alvarez, I'm not saying his opposition, a lot of his opponents as of recent has been equal or greater, but the position that they're holding says that they're equal to who he is, because they're a champion. They're holding this championship strap. We all know that champions, they can get in there. They're not equal. They can be below average. We all understand that. We all know you can be a world champion or a gold champion, but have less skills than the super champion. We all understand that, but it just comes into semantics, man. You know what I'm saying? The overlay of it all. I'm talking about taking risks to put your name out there with quality competition, equal or greater. If it's for strap, elevate divisions, just putting that whole entire challenge barometer out there for people to see, to say, you know what, so-and-so ain't scared to take risks, man. They're trying to do that. They're trying to cement their legacy. I ain't mad at them. Let's go. That don't hate the player, hate the game is a backwards narrative. Here's why. The player chooses to play the game because the game will forever remain the game, not vice versa. But see, I disagree with that because people intend to hate the person who's basically doing it the best and they're shining from it. But see, that one particular player that's in the game and they're basically thriving off this game. They growing off this game. They're progressing off this game. They pretty much figured it out. So when people are looking at them and how they're moving through the game, they saying, shit, man, that motherfucker, god damn it, why are you doing this and that? You can't hate the ones who's playing this month. You cannot hate them. You have to hate the game because that's what they're manipulating. They're finding a way to be the best at what they do. It may not be to the liking of everybody, but the way right now, it cannot ever be perfect. You cannot ever be perfect playing this motherfucking game. Never. You know why you can't be perfect? Because the level for which you have to go in this particular game is always going to be ups and downs, ups and downs. Why? We're talking about boxing without a governing body, absent of a governing body. It's too many hands. It's too many people that are making decisions in the sport of boxing. There's no one single entity to make a selective choice unless you're signed with the person. It's not like the UFC where the matchmakers are matching y'all up and you almost guaranteed to fight the next higher ranking person in your division. It's not ever going to be like that because there's so many people making money in boxing. No one person is going to be able to tie the knot at the top and say, this is how we're going to operate from now on. We're going to be organized, proficient, and we're going to grow this sport the proper way. It's not going to happen. This is not going to fucking happen in boxing. It's not. Alexander in the building, what's good? He said, what up, WCS? The channel growth is beautiful. I appreciate it, bro. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you. Sir Ken in the building, salute. World Combat Sports, salute. Salute to the wrenches and salute to the chat. Smash the like. I appreciate you there, Sir Ken, all the time. Unique Don in the building. What's good? Troy said, World Combat. I can't say I care about Black American fighters only because that narrows the playing field. I do care about great fighters because great fighters build a sport. Well, I cannot really replay where I said I only care for Black fighters because anyone who listens to the channel know I report on whoever the fighter is about. So it's not just about Black fighters. But this particular narrative that I'm speaking on, yes, it's strictly about Black fighters. Why? Because I'm Black. I'm Black. So therefore, I don't feel I need to ask permission to speak on my Blackness. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to praising another Black athlete or Black individual or criticizing them, period. But if I want to say, I'm going to put a thumbnail up here and I want to talk about Black fighters need to take more risk, I feel I can do that. I feel I can do that. I have every right to do that because that's just my opinion. That doesn't mean I'm going to get a huge group of individuals that support my narrative and say, you know what? Look, this is what they say. You know what? Hey, Scotty, you're right. When was your last fight again? I mean, I never fought professional. For real? But I have though. And you said we need to take risks, huh? Okay, I got you. All right. So you keep on doing what you're doing, you know what I'm saying? And I hear what you're saying. You know, they'll come with some sarcastic shit like that. But that's not where I'm at right now. See, the one thing that from the South that I feel I don't ever have to tolerate is when I can speak up on my people. I should be able to speak about them regardless. You know what I'm saying? Us, regardless. And everything is not going to be with adulation and praise. It's going to be more so like for a sport that I love, I would definitely like to see other Black fighters emulate what Floyd Mayweather was able to do. That's all I'm saying. I would like to see more in recession, in line, to be able to have the mindset of how Floyd Mayweather was able to go through the sport. Top PPV king, the king. So therefore, like everything, I'm trying to prepare you all for the guard change. It's going to be a guard change happening here in a little bit. That guard change is going to be Canelo leaving the sport. I'm telling you. People are not talking about it, but I'm trying to prepare the Black fighters. That it'll be an opportune time with social media the way it is and boxing rebounding and getting back to normal. I'll behoove you to just understand how important it will be to try to assume that position. And in order for you to assume that position as the next best, the cash cow, the biggest name in boxing that they're talking about, you got to start making moves as such. You got to promote yourself outside the ring. You have to promote yourself. You have to talk like a Deontay Wilder. You have to talk like a Teofimo Lopez. You have to talk like a Shakur Stevenson. You know, you have to get your name out there, man. Like, to be honest with you, I don't never hear from Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence unless they have a fight coming up. So that's always going to be that way. People are not going to be able to connect with them. Like, if Errol Spence don't have a fight coming up, do anyone even know what he's doing? How are fans going to grow? Oh, because he has a fight and he has another fight going on in Texas. It's only a matter of time before that shit. That's just like us criticizing fighters for fighting their own country, right? But the one I can say, okay, Spence did go over there to Kell Brook backyard, right? But that's over and done with. How many times do you think he's going to be able to just say, I don't have to do much. I don't have to do much. All I have to do is come out the house and go to fight camp. And I go to fight camp. I'm going to tell Al. I talk to Al all the time. I'm telling Al, I want another fight in Texas. And I'm going to make that money in Texas. I'm going to keep it right here in Texas. That shit running out. That shit is running out. The next one should be in line already and should be trying to make strides to be the next best. That's what I want to see. I'm talking about in general. Y'all know who some of my favorite fighters are. You already know that. But today I was speaking on black fighters that look like me. Floyd Mayweather cannot just be the only template in making money and no one else is able to solve the puzzle and the mystery and go out here and do the same thing. You can. You just have to have that star power. You have to go out here and perform in the ring. You have to let people know that you are pure entertainment and they want to come see you. That's it. Just like Conor McGregor came out of nowhere. Conor McGregor came over to the UFC with 2 losses already. 2 losses. This dude faced his first loss in the UFC, right? He gets subbed out by Nate Diaz in 2 rounds. People didn't abandon this dude. They said, oh, you'll come back, Conor. You'll come back. Conor get on the mic. I just want to let my people know I'll be back. You know, you can't win them all. I'll be back. I'll train harder. You can best believe. You know, he just give them that motivation speech. What they do, come back, he win. People are like, oh, okay, he good. He goes over here. And look, you got to find a way to do some shit like Conor McGregor's, though. Because Conor McGregor was able to come over here and fight our greatest of this era. Floyd Mayweather, being the genius that he is again, took a 0-0 professional fighter and had people paying $100. I always shake my head at that fight. It's just unbelievable. You know, the people that I talked to that was actually in the building that night, they said that shit was electric. Like, it was so much star power there. It was so many celebrities at that fight with Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. And I'm telling people, you got to do the same shit. You got to find a way to bring people to the seats. You got to find a way for them to talk about you. You got to. You have to find that way. Floyd Mayweather did with Conor McGregor was just unfucking believable. It was amazing. To charge $100. Isn't that the highest PPV cost? I'm not talking about buys. I'm talking about the highest ever charge for PPV, $100 from Floyd Mayweather, who came in there with a ski mask on. You know who you might not want to hear that's stunting on the game right now, that you might not want to hear because he ain't black. It's not like, you know, when people talk about him, it's not like they consider him anything special. But once again, you're speaking of him, but you're not emulating, you're not leading, you're not being the one that they say, man, did you see what so-and-so did? And that's Teofimo Lopez. This cat is wearing a Triller shirt right now. This dude has all the belts at lightweight, and he's about to goddamn be down here in the A. He's about to fight on Triller. He's about to fight on Triller, a mandatory. He's about to get paid 3.1 take home. I'm telling the black fighters, man, you can do the same shit Tio doing. You just gotta have the courage to get it done. That's all. You just gotta have the courage to get this shit done, yo. I would prefer fighters to emulate Sugar Ray Leonard, Bernard Hopkins. They took 100% of their careers and got the generational wealth and took the risk and build their legacies in the sport. I can't really go against those two fighters, you know, especially Bernard Hopkins getting out of prison and becoming the fighter that he did. Very smart individual. Every time I hear Bernard Hopkins talk, I damn near think I'm back in college again and shit. You know what I'm saying? And then his sparring partner, shout out to Nazir Graham. I swear to you, this guy sounds just like Bernard Hopkins, man. He was showing me some of Bernard Hopkins, some of the moves that he did all the time, because he was his primary sparring partner for a while. And I was like, damn, that shit is smart. That's amazing. That's a good point though, Troy. MP4, what's good? Salute to the chat. Andre say, you were right. B Hop and Sugar Ray were real G's. Yeah, I like Sugar Ray and B Hop, more so Sugar Ray. I'm not gonna lie. I like Sugar Ray fighting style a bit more. He was more willing to engage when he did shoe shine and get off his punches. I always knew the shit was coming. I always knew the entertainment value was there for Sugar Ray. That's the problem. World Combat. Floyd made money, but his motto was right. Fighters right price. He didn't leave his fans anything to really celebrate. His fights was far from entertaining. I put it to you this way. From Pretty Boy to Money, like I said before, he did what he had to do to reach that point. Floyd Mayweather had to perform a certain way to reach $100 per buy PPV status. Look, check this out, Troy. Floyd Mayweather had to plan himself out accordingly. However he did his spreadsheet on who he chose to fight and how he chose to fight that fight. He had to plan it out so famously that people were willing to come see him fight, even though some of his fights was boring. They wanted to come see Floyd Mayweather. And I can only say it like this. I can only put it out there like this. We can't say Floyd Mayweather didn't fight anyone in his career. We can't. And decide to turn pro mixed martial artist. For him to take this guy and just to allow him to do something no one else has did in the sport of boxing. No other boxer disrespected Floyd Mayweather like that. But he has such a large persona, I mean, larger than life. He said, this is going to be the opportunity for me to make the most money off this white fighter. Because people truly believe that Conor McGregor was going to go over here and defeat Floyd Mayweather. It's people that really deep down believe that behind closed doors, that Conor McGregor being a two-division champion, they say this is the one. Conor McGregor had convinced him, and Floyd Mayweather say, I will allow you to be convinced. But I'm gonna fuck your boy up. Don't worry about it. I'll let him do some disrespectful shit like pat me on the head, talk that shit, go through my bag, you know, my money bag, talk about my family, this, that, and the other. You know, Floyd allowed Conor McGregor to do some disrespectful shit that no boxers ever did to him. Ever. And he took it right to the bank. That's genius, man. Boxing used to be where if you lost, it wasn't over. This is why the MMA has gained so much traction, because a loss is not the end of the career. I totally agree, MP4. I try to explain that to people, you know, years ago when I was, you know, the only one up here talking about boxing and MMA, and people's like, oh, nobody look at fucking MMA. I wonder how the shit has changed all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting some people hit me up talking about, when you gonna do your next one on mixed martial arts? You know, I told you all, you cannot just like put yourself out there to be a part of one sport. In order for you to understand certain things that happen in boxing, it's good for you to pretty much be inclined to watch and zoom in to mixed martial arts. Both of these sports in general are side by side. You know what I'm saying? They're two of the premier televised sports that we have today. Mixed martial arts and boxing. But mixed martial arts has only been sanctioned, you know what I'm saying, a little over a decade. All right, decade and a half, so to speak. So you take how long, mixed martial arts has been a sanctioning combat sport versus how long boxing has been a sanctioning combat sport. And there's no way that mixed martial arts should be anywhere close to boxing. Nowhere close. When this pandemic hit, it should have been so transparent to boxing that it should have been able to continue. They should have had a facility set up. They should have had a way to organize for fighters to continue to fight. We should have still been able to get fighters, even if they had to train. At this point in time in the sport, boxing should have built mega facilities for the sport for situations like the pandemic. Boxers could have went in there and slept, trained, ate, and repeat. You know what I'm saying? Sleep, eat, train, repeat. It should have been mega training centers all over, to the point where even if you wanted to televise a fight, you have two different sides, port and starboard. Why is there no boxing facility at this point in time in the career big enough so that you can take a group of fighters in there in a pandemic where they may not be able to go to local gyms? They go in this particular facility. Boxing has security set up. They has all the protocols. They can go in here and be right at home, train, get it in, and then have some fight. Have the fight televised. You think as long as boxing has been around in the world and life in general, that should be something that could have happened. But it isn't. The UFC has more facilities that's beneath the banner. I mean, I'm talking about mega training facilities than any boxing that you will see in the world. They have mega training facilities with dorms, training, all the training gear that you have, cages. You can eat there, all of that shit. You can get your whole you can do your whole camp in that training facility, and then you can go fight. I tell you, boxing in trouble, big dog. Let's be honest, based on accomplishments, Manny Pacquiao is the greatest of this era, as well as Hopkins. Floyd was the most skilled and wealthiest, but no one speaks about his fight, including them. Floyd is one of the greatest fighters. When someone speaks of one of the greatest fighters, Floyd is indeed one of the greatest fighters. Hopkins is retired. All right. Hopkins was retired, and I'm not taking anything away from Bernard Hopkins. Very intelligent boxer, and an intelligent human being. Period. That's not what I mean by the greatest. Like Floyd, actively one of the ones who we can really latch on to as far as entertainment was Floyd Mayweather. Now Pacquiao on the back end, not so much. So overall, Pacquiao is a bona fide, validated legend. There's no one that's even close to saying, you know what, on the male side of the house, that I need to move up the division and become an 8 division champion. You know what I'm saying? He's in a class of his own. But he's just been mongering around the sport of boxing on the back end of his career. And I know Troy is going to be like, what? He just beat Keith Thurman. I know that, but was he in drug testing? I mean, I gotta throw it out there, dog. I mean, We talking about Keith Thurman. You know, I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I just don't know what Manny Pacquiao's been doing. He hung around long enough to get a fight with with a guy that we don't know what the fuck was going on in his life. You know, he got married, kid. His mind wasn't on boxing. The man was eating a sundae before he stepped in there with Manny Pacquiao. Come on, bro. Like, from what my understanding was, he didn't get tested for the Lucas Matisse fight. He didn't get tested for the Adrian Broner nor the Keith Thurman fight. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know, man. But that has nothing to do with one from as far as Floyd Mayweather being the greatest of this era. He's undefeated, and he's the money. He's the money. You know, the only reason Manny Pacquiao is even on the top 5 PPV is because of Floyd Mayweather. Who is another fighter that Manny Pacquiao is on the list with? So that's what I'm saying. Floyd Mayweather was the top seller. He was the top seller. I still praise him for his experience being 62-7. I praise him for that. But Floyd Mayweather is one of the greats of this era, man. Very few, if anyone, came to see Floyd perform because, okay, there go Floyd. I mean, there go Troy. Because of Floyd's big PPV were because he fought other fighters with fan bases. Oh, that's what it is? He fought other fighters with fan bases. That's just what it is. You can't give Floyd any freaking credit for what he's been able to accomplish. He's like, that's because, you know, he fought other people that was there. So, you know, we look at this and Floyd versus Manny Pacquiao, 5.7. It's because he fought Manny Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that what he's supposed to do? He's supposed to fight other big names. He's supposed to fight them. He's supposed to fight those guys. You know what I'm saying? What about Conor McGregor though, Troy? Conor McGregor was from the MMA arena. What about him? Didn't nobody know him in boxing? It was Floyd Mayweather who brought them to the dance. Floyd. What about this right here? Let me see what this is. Let me see what this is about. Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray looked like he fought somebody. It looked like Marvin Hagler, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, he fought Sugar Ray Leonard. Both of them was somebody. You can't just put the blame on Floyd because Hagler Leonard, it happened. You know what I'm saying? That's after Leonard was coming off a hiatus. What about this? Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson. Come on, man. You can't just blame Floyd as if he's done nothing. Lennox Lewis fought Mike Tyson, another big name. Of course. Just like Anthony Joshua fought Vladimir Klitschko. He had to have someone to dance with at Wembley, and that's who he was able to sell out Wembley Stadium, fighting Vladimir Klitschko. Check this out. Mike Tyson again versus Evander Holyfield, another big name. So you know what, Detroit, we have to give him his credit. Why would you go up there with a freaking fighter that's unknown and people don't want to see him? I mean, it's just the way it goes, man. It's the protocol. But we can't compare him to a Berto. We can't compare him to fighters. Look, was Holyfield was Holyfield a big name? Holyfield and Tyson was a big name. Period. Was Floyd and Berto a big name? No. When Floyd versus Shane, was Shane one of those guys that a lot of people, Shane barely even said anything. Shane Mosley was one of those fighters that could have been better, but him and Oscar De La Hoya damn near had the same personality. Then nobody, I mean, Shane Mosley, man, come on. He had sugar in front of it, but that was about it, dog. Come on there, Troy, man. Come on, bro. Andre Berto for real. Even though salute to Andre Berto, he's a good dude, but come on, bro. Did they say like Floyd's fight with Latino fighters or Manny Pacquiao? How many people did he have on the top list that was Latino fighters though? Manny Pacquiao, the Filipino nation, that was one of his biggest fights on the PPV. Manny Pac, the other 8 division world champion, the legend of boxing. Hobson was a chess player in the ring. Absolutely. He was all about that chess. Absolutely. Very, very smart dude. He said, here we go with the drugs. Fact is, Manny, okay. Fact is, Manning to Floyd to court because he was slandering his name with drug talk. Floyd had no proof. Do you have proof or simply hearsay? I know that Manny Pacquiao, somebody need to bring me the freaking drug testing pool when he fought Matisse, freaking Broner, and Thurman. I just want to see if he was in the drug pool. I mean, no, I'll take that back. He probably was in the drug pool. Was he tested? Now, what Floyd was saying about Manny Pacquiao, that's on a higher level of tension. He has a larger platform than World Combat Sports. So of course, Manny Pacquiao is going to be like, you keep on talking about old shit, I'm taking you to court. I'm taking you to court. Because Floyd Mayweather has a larger platform than I do. So of course, Manny's going to try to save his. You know, look, Floyd Mayweather's reaching out to more people than I am. So hell yeah, Manny's going to try to take him to court and say, listen, you need to stop this shit. You know? But I don't foresee Manny taking me to court because I'm just telling you what's out there. Selling make you great in boxing. Now, not your fights. Hey, he was entertaining, man. He made shit look so easy there, Troy. You know, you gotta give him his props. He made shit look so easy. So people like yourself may not give him full credit for making fights look so easy. You know what I'm saying? Just like he carried Conor McGregor, made it look easy. Like he gave Berto a chance, made it look easy. He gave Marcus Maidana 2 chances, made it look easy. You know what I'm saying? Even though he was hurt one time in that fight, made it look easy. Was hurt by this one. I'm running down the line there, Troy. He was hurt by Sugar Shane, the worst he ever been hurt in his career. Came back, made it look easy. You know what I'm saying? Fought Zab Judah. Very solid fight. Very entertaining. Very entertaining. Ricky Hatton. I had to throw old Ricky Hatton in there because people was thinking, oh, this is the one. He's going to do it. Ricky Hatton, the hitman. It's his time. Ricky out there telling us, yeah, I'm going to take him out. I'm definitely confident I'm going to get this win. I'm built for this. This is my day, my hour. I'm here. There's no more Mayweather after tonight. The hitman is here. Nope. Check left hook. Check. I still remember him check left hook. Floyd Mayweather gave him that check left hook. Bang! What are you talking about, World Combat Sports? The link. Mike Tyson sold millions fighting Peter McNeely, a no-name, a no-name nobody. Can Floyd do that? Well, you have to understand 2 different eras of boxing. There's no way you can sit up here and give this comparison about Mike Tyson and what weight class he was in and different fighting style than Floyd Mayweather. Even Floyd Mayweather, when his hands became brittle and a bit more, how you call it, fragile, he even fought different. Mike Tyson was an icon in itself from the way he came on the scene. His knockouts, the way he looked as a fighter, that's what people pretty much view a boxer to be, like Mike Tyson. He had a neck that was the size of 2 thighs together, somebody's back. You know what I'm saying? Mike Tyson was that dude. He was vicious, mean. You know what I'm saying? And people look at this dude like, it's no way. There's no way that a fighter's gonna go in there. Mike Tyson had that persona, that tenacious persona. Floyd Mayweather didn't. Floyd Mayweather pretty much gave you almost like a scholastic, like he gave you more so a more educated boxing sense. You know what I'm saying? He was gonna show you how to go to college. You know, he was gonna show you what a doctor degree looked like in boxing. He was gonna show you, you know, the proper way on how he can go in here and adjust to any boxer and make it look easy. Mike Tyson was full steam ahead, one fucking gear. Floyd Mayweather was not one gear. So you cannot compare Mike Tyson to Floyd Mayweather. You cannot do that. You can't do that, Sheldon. The only thing you can compare, there was two black men in the ring. Fighting styles, nope, you can't compare. Careers, you can't compare them. Weight classes, you can't compare them. Seriously, you can't compare them. Eldo, what's good? Salute to you. I'm not sure it's the fan base of those fighters. Is more just people choosing to root against Floyd. It's evident because those fans don't really show up for those guys before or after they fight Floyd. I think I think a lot of the star power that came with Floyd Mayweather is people that was one, wanted to come see him win, two, wanted to see him lose. And in between that, is people who want to go ahead and see how he was going to make this particular opponent look. And it's obvious why him and Manny Pacquiao is at the top of the list when it comes to PPVs, because the Filipinos support their top fighters like that. They support fighters in general. They don't do that. It's not equitable like that on a regular basis over here in the US. It's not. It's not, man. Like, you got the Filipino nation. They stop what they're doing. They cook up I've seen it, a 16-point spread. They cook a 16 entree, 16 different dishes. They treat it like it's Thanksgiving when Manny Pacquiao's on deck. Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather had their own type of magnet when it came to boxing fans. You know what I'm saying? It's just like back then, the heavyweight division was running shit, and they always wanted to see Mike Tyson come in there and knock a motherfucker out. He was in the right division, the right era, and he had the right look. Mike Tyson had everything we looked for in boxing back then. When they said Mike Tyson was goddamn fighting, shit, people, if they wasn't close to the house, they try to find a way. Hey man, they call up a friend. Hey man, you looking at that Mike Tyson fight, man? You mind if I drop through, man? All right, cool. Leave the basement open. I'm coming around the basement. They had to see Mike Tyson fight, dog. This what he do. But more so Floyd Mayweather, man, he just had a more boxing orientated persona. When you're looking at a boxer to learn something, you're looking at a gift. You're looking at a pedigree. You know what I'm saying? Of years and years of teaching play out in front of you. It's a lot of people that showed up to see Floyd Mayweather lose. Floyd just bring them out. Yeah, bring them out. Bring them out. Floyd say drop the link. Now, at Troy, I don't have time to be going back and forth about stuff that you comparing because you're 60 years old now. Don't get on here talking about, well, you know, when I was coming up, I had a conversation with Henry Armstrong, and he told me why he went for all those divisions. And then I talked to Joe Louis. Oh, shit. He said, okay, so explain why Mike Tyson still sells millions in his mid-50s. because Mike Tyson has the type of iconic, you know, persona that he had as a boxer, and still to this day, even with what he's been able to do in life criminally. You know, he went to prison, man. You know, he went down for domestic violence. He's been one of those guys that really showed you that if you at the right time in life, people will so-called forgive you for what you did in the sport of boxing, because there's a lot of cats in here that had a second chance by competing in the sport of boxing. Mike Tyson was one of those guys, man. Even the way he was raised, coming off the street, finding out, you know, he can put those down raw. I mean, I'm talking about raw, brutal type mentality that he had, that viciousness that he had. He can bring that shit to the ring and make millions. Even with the fact that he was locked up for rape, he was having domestic violence. He went through all that shit with Don. I mean, the list goes on and on. Biting my boy Evander Holyfield in both of his ears. The shit he said about eating Lennox Lewis kids. He was a different type of individual. That's why he's able to get the type of attention he does right now, because people still see him as that heavyweight killer. He was born in an era where the heavyweights was adored rather. They appreciated it, because the heavyweights back then, when I was growing up, that was the primary division. People love to see the heavyweights, man. People love to see the heavyweights. Floyd was fluctuating through divisions, man, you know, in this era, and he was just showing us, you know, how great he can be. You know, some of the fights wasn't all that entertaining, but it's boxing at the end of the day. The sweet science doesn't mean you go in there and you entertain the fans every time. Sometimes you just have to go in there and fight the smartest that you've ever fought to get the victory. Now, if you choose to do that every time you step in the ring, people are not going to show up and watch you. That's just the way it is. Mike Tyson is an icon, man. Mike Tyson is more so a people's person, because you might find him out. Look, it's just two different types of individual. People can relate more to Mike Tyson than they would Floyd Money Mayweather, because Money Mayweather, he just has built this huge perimeter, this monetary perimeter where he's shielded now. He has security, protection. You're not going to get close to Money. Like when you see Money, he got security around him. You can't get. You see Mike Tyson, he with his girl, he with his wife. He don't have a huge amount of security around him. He ain't worrying about none of that. Mike Tyson has this different connection with the fans. Even fans that really didn't see him growing up boxing, they can connect with Mike Tyson before they do Floyd Mayweather sometimes. He said Sugar Ray Leonard fought Donald the Nun and made it a big fight. And Donald the Nun became a star. Has Floyd found any no names and turned them into big stars? It's not for me to say who he's turned into a star, because that's just the perception of the viewer on whether that person. It's all about how someone views that individual as being a star. You take a white guy like Donnie Lennon, Donnie the Blonde Lennon, who was fighting at a heavy division, and he has the opportunity to fight at a catchweight with Sugar Ray Leonard. They fight at 168. He has the opportunity for greatness, but he came close to it. He dropped Sugar Ray. You know, a lot of people thought that was going to be it. Plus, it was a black fighter fighting a white fighter. And back then, that shit sold. You have to understand, that shit sells. It doesn't, it still sells a little bit here when you had Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, but not as much as it did back then. And down in the nine, he had his moment, just like Conor McGregor had his moment. You know what I'm saying? That's that's what he did. He had a moment to be in there with Sugar Ray to catch weight, and he got stopped. He lost his belt. That's why you see that. That's why you see Sugar Ray with that heavier division on his resume, because he never even stepped in the ring as a light heavy. He never did. But they fought for the titles. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know if Donnie the Nine, people like Donnie before he stepped in there with Sugar Ray. But as far as him being this big ass star, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he got some notoriety off Sugar Ray's, name and knocking him down, but he still got stopped. Yeah, man. Embrace 50 plus, embrace it. I'm blessed by the Almighty to live to 50. I know He will continue to bless me with longevity, so I don't get your joke, as corny as it is, because without our ancestors and the elders, we would not exist. So, one thing I know for a fact, I'm not here to try to make Troy Graham laugh. I'm not really here to make another man laugh, period. But I'm just saying in general, like, I'm just visioning, you talking about older fighters, because you like comparing to older fighters. I just don't do that. I can't I kind of pick it like I compare certain fighters to the fighters of today, and then I speak sometimes about the fighters of the past. But we just can't sit up here and compare all the new fighters to the old fighters. Boxing was different back then. At one point in time, they had 15 rounds. You know what I'm saying? They had 15 rounds, man. And a lot of these fighters, they may have fought 5, 10 times a year or more. Boxing has changed. So for me to sit up here and compare the new age fighters where we have 12 rounds max, 10 rounds for the females with 2 minute rounds. I mean, boxing is different. It's just different right now. So that's what I meant by Troy. You telling us old stories of when you ran into Jack Johnson on the subway with his white girlfriend. Hey, Jack, how you doing, man? Congratulations, champ. You think they ever let you over again? How long you plan on staying over here? You never should have did it. You never should have won that fight there, Jack. So many excuses. There ain't no excuses, bro. It ain't no excuses, man. But hey, I appreciate your input, though. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, appreciate your input, man. I'm not, just because I'm at a point right now in life, I never can sit up here and just compare all the good fighters. Like, I don't want to compare these black fighters to Floyd Mayweather. I want them to go out here and have their own identity and make their own money and become good and great at what they do. That was my whole point for the live. I want to see more black fighters being the talking point and stop just chasing behind these fighters like Canelo Alvarez and Teofimo Lopez, who made the decision to go out here and be someone great. They made the decision to go out here and be great. Deontay Wilder, he made the decision to go out here and be great at what he do, to challenge the best, to fight the best, to give a rematch. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's about. We need more people like that. Step up and accept the challenge. If you in a lower division and you've been fighting this division forever, and you only been in that division because you chose to, I mean, come on, ask yourself, like, am I doing enough for the sport? Seriously, are you doing enough for the sport? Because you can't criticize freaking Canelo Alvarez when he's damn fluctuating up the elevator whenever he chooses, and then go hopping on a motherfucking 100,000. No, I wouldn't even say 100,000, $1 million plus horse. Riding around here like he the boxing Lone Ranger. Don't be mad. Don't be motherfucking mad. who is so accomplished today under 30 or in their 30s for me to compare them to. No, that's just the whole point. That's just the whole point. Is that boxing has changed. There's a lot more going on in boxing. You have social media. You have a lot more influences on boxing's popularity. Even though that popularity may be false, you know what I'm saying, with artificial intelligence and shit like that, boxing has changed. So once again, for those boxers we watched growing up, we can't sit up here and compare these fighters of today because they're not even fighting on a frequent basis. Some of the top names in the sports is fighting twice a year. They don't even want to. They don't even want to fight all the time. They getting paid good money to sit home and fight twice a year. You know what I'm saying? The ones who are making a big difference, well, I see right now that people are going to be talking about. You know, you have the Canelo Alvarez that's making a big deal. He's making the money. He's getting paid. And then, believe it or not, you have some other fighters, you know, that's signed pretty decent contracts that's out here. You know, the one that may be doing it next is according to how many divisions. You know, I'm looking at how they have been moving, how young they are in the game. You know, stand by for Shakur Stevenson. Stand by for Teofimo Lopez, man. If Devin Haney end up getting started, you know, stand by for Devin Haney. You know, you have some young fighters that's very top tier names right now in the sport. Once they get cooking and find their lane, you might have a various amounts of top names in boxing that you want to go watch that's making really good money. I'm talking about solid millions. This day and time, you can do less and make more money in the sport because you don't even have to fight on a frequency like they did back in the day. Back in the day, it was a lot of viewership, Troy, especially for you because you was looking at that bubble back TV and only had 4 channels. Now we have social media, several platforms. You know, we just have so many other entities that takes people time away. They're not as tuned in as they was back then with Larry Holmes, Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray, all them. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't tuned in as much because they didn't have social media back then. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people's more in tune to watch something because they wasn't distracted in seeing who was tweeting, who was on IG, Facebook, who was up here motherfucking doing a TikTok video. Joshua isn't great. Okay, let's just stop it. Stop it. Joshua isn't great. Let's be clear on that. Joshua isn't great. No. Who are the top fighters at 154? Well, the top fighter right now, obviously, is damn near the unified champion, Jermell Charlo. Okay. As far as the top fighters is in weight, we have to put the Tim Tszyu that's on deck, you know, that's coming up. We have to put the Jamonte Clarks that's there. We have to put the fast rising Charles Bad News Conwell on deck. You know what I'm saying? We have to put Tim Tszyu. We have to get Tim Tszyu in the building. You know what I'm saying? Because he is making a name for himself, and people need to watch out for that. We have to never forget Erickson Lubin is still on deck. It's a hot division now. It's a hot division. Y'all better be ready for that 154. It's a hot division. You know what I'm saying? We still who else? Who else is at 154 with a solid name? We have to take a look at Jerry Hurd. You know what I'm saying? He's still there. J Rock, Erickson Lubin. Brian Costano, he's still the WBO champion right now until he step in there and face Jermell Charlo. We see how that goes. Who else? Sebastian Fundora, man. Like I said before, Sebastian Fundora, the Towering Inferno, he will be a world champion at 54 once Jermell Charlo comes off these belts. I believe Jermell Charlo can beat Sebastian Fundora. He's a better boxer, period. J Rock, um, we can't forget Tony Harrison is still in the hunt. I mean, it has a lot of good names in there. I like Jamonte Clark, like I said. I like it, man. A lot of those guys are big names up there. From Tim Tszyu, Sebastian Fundora, Charles Conwell, Tony Harrison, Erickson Lubin, Sergio Garcia's up there, Jay Hurd. What's going on, SB90 in the building? What's good? Evis, what's good? Salute. Troy say, thanks for making my point. There are no current fighters of this era to compare them to. I can't really compare them to like I said before. When it comes to this day and time, there, Troy, you have to admit deep down inside, whether you want to or not, that there's a lot more variables when it comes to attention on what people are spending their time with socially. People time is delegated differently than it was when we was growing up. If you're talking about a channel with a TV with very few channels on it, and a boxing match come on, okay, we was tuning in to the boxing matches. Don't act like you came up in the internet era. You was out back, motherfucking digging holes in the backyard, burying sticks, and then walking away 15 steps and turn around and say, okay, where did I put it? Where did I put it? I'm serious. Like, it was only so much shit to do. Hey, do you mind? Do you want to play some catch? Let's go out and play some catch. Motherfuckers out there playing catch, kickball, climbing on top of the roof, goddamn checking to see what's in the gutters. I mean, it was a lot of shit we was doing, but we wasn't stationary. We didn't have all this recreation, social media to go and just push our time, make our time fly by. We didn't have that growing up, bro. So you just can't compare these boxers and the way they're fighting like once or twice a year to the old school guys that was getting paid less money to a point. You know what I'm saying? And they was fighting more frequently. I mean, that's wear and tear. Boxing was quite different back then. The divisions was quite different. It's just so many variables to talk about, man. All I can say, Troy, without saying unfocused, I would say if you want to use that word just to say that there's a lot more collateral activities for them to be participating in, yeah, it's plenty out there. Plenty. It's plenty. It's all about social media. It's all about social media, man. SB96, salute WCS. How you doing? What's good, bro? How you feeling? If Joshua isn't great, how is Wilder? Because I can tell you, Wilder's defended his title 10 times. We've been through this already. And listen, I'm not going to go through it right now because this is about, black fighters just stepping up, which Wilder stepped up in the first place and fought rematches, you know what I'm saying, fought tough opposition, including Fury. You know what I'm saying? Fury is the one guy that Joshua wants to fight because Fury's undefeated, but Wilder fought him twice already while Joshua was sitting back in the shadows quivering. You know what I'm saying? Just quivering. No, Eddie. Please, Eddie, no. I don't want to fight the bad man. He didn't want no parts of Deontay Wilder. No parts. You know what I'm saying? Has he even defended his title? You know what I'm saying? Like that 10 straight solid times. We're not getting into this. Not for free. I'm about to give you my cash app, so I got to charge you for this lesson there, Troy. I got to charge you for this shit. But everyone who tuned in, man, I got to bounce for sure. It's been a pleasure. Those of you that dropped in, and gave your input, it's always appreciated. Be sure to check out my boy Brian Norman Jr., the assassin, that's fighting tomorrow night. He's back in the ring, man. Fighting tomorrow night. Yes, the same one that gave Tank that work when he came down here for sparring. He's back in the ring tomorrow night. Check him out. Brian Norman Jr. back in the ring to get it done. Out this ATL. You know what it is, man. Turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports.